Hello, students. Welcome to English for Academic and Professional Purposes subject. I am your teacher, Marino Joy D. De La Cruz. Are you ready to explore this subject? Don't forget to have your notebook and pen, then jot down the important concepts I will be discussing. Our today's lesson is about academic text structure. You will learn in this video the following. Number 1, to know what is an academic text. Number 2, to determine text structure of an academic text. And number 3, to explain the components of the three-part essay structure or IMRaD structure. You know what? The text you read in the school is different from the text you read during your leisure time. While the texts you read for pleasure, such as graphic novels or magazine, can be a likeness to a peel of a sweet dessert. While the academic text is more like a heavy main course. They need to be chewed and savored for a long time before their meanings can be fully digested. Here are some of the examples of academic texts: the thesis and dissertation, the book review, or the research articles or scholarly journals. A thesis or dissertation is a document that is submitted at the conclusion or end of a bachelor, master's, or PhD program. It contains book-length summarization of a candidate's research before graduation. It is one major requirement before a student will graduate those courses: bachelor, master's, or PhD. On the other hand, the research paper uses outside information to support a thesis or make an argument. They are written in all disciplines and may be evaluative, analytical, or critical in nature. The examples of research papers used are primary sources like historical records and some secondary sources like peer-reviewed scholarly articles. It is synthesizing external information with own ideas. While the literary analysis is an essay that examines, evaluates, and make an argument about a literary work. It is an essay that goes beyond mere summarization. It requires careful close reading of one or multiple texts and often focuses on specific characteristics, theme, or motive. Based on the examples, it can be said that in reading academic texts, full concentration and comprehension are required to understand the key ideas, information, themes, or arguments of the text. So, in general, an academic text is a critical, objective, specialized text written by experts or professionals in a given field using formal language. It is based on facts with solid evidences. It is quite formal, objective, and technical. I know some of you are hesitant to read an academic text because some may find it boring or exceedingly long to read. But there are approaches you can use to understand more the content when reading academic texts. Before you read an academic text, you should know your goals. So, You need to ask yourself the following. Number one, why am I reading this text? Number two, what information or pieces of information do I need? And number three, what do you want to learn? Once you have answered these questions, it is easier to understand the content of an academic text. You know, you can benefit a lot from reading an academic text. There are reasons or general purpose for reading this. Number one, to better understand an existing idea. Number two, to get ideas that can support a particular writing assignment. Number three, to gain more information. Number four, to identify gaps or problems in an existing studies. And number five, to connect new ideas to existing ones. To identify if your reading is an academic text, look at it by its structure. The structure of an academic text are typically formal, meaning it is not conversational. It is objective. So in short, it is impersonal. And it is technical because it uses vocabulary specific to a specific discipline. It is important to have a well-structured text to enable the readers to follow the argument and navigate the text. In academic writing, clear structure and a logical flow are imperative to a cohesive text. You need also to remember that it includes information from a credible source that is in turn properly cited and with a list of references. So these are the two common structures of an academic text that you need to learn, which depend on the assignment you are required. The first one is the three-part essay structure, and the next one is the IMRaD. The three-part essay structure is a basic structure that consists of introduction, body, and conclusion. The introduction and conclusion is shorter than the body of the text. While for shorter essay, one or two paragraphs for each of these sections can be appropriate. However, for a longer text or thesis, they may be several pages long. The first part of an essay is an introduction. So in writing an introduction, it clearly tells the reader the topic, purpose, and structure of the paper. An introduction is between 10 to 20% of the length of the whole paper and has three main parts. The first part is the most general information such as the background or the definition. The second part of the introduction is the core, where you show the overall topic, purpose, and the point of view or hypothesis and or research question. This is depending on what kind of paper it is. And the end of the introduction is the most specific information. It describes the scope and the structure of your essay. The next part of an essay is the body. The body develops the question, what is the topic about? It may be elaborate directly on the topic sentence by giving definition, classification, explanation, contrast, examples, and support it with evidence. This is considered the heart of the essay because it expounds a specific ideas for the reader to have a better understanding of a topic. It is usually the largest part of the essay. And the last part of the essay is a conclusion. The conclusion is closely related to the introduction and is often described as it is a mirror image. This means that if the introduction begins with a general information and ends with a specific information, the conclusion moves in the opposite direction. So it starts with a specific information followed by the general information. The conclusion usually begins by briefly summarizing the main scope or the structure of the paper, confirms the topic that was given into the introduction, ends with a more general statement about how the topic relates to its context, and this may take the form of an evaluation of the importance of the topic, implication of a future research, or a recommendation about a theory or a practice. Now let's talk about the IMRaD structure. The IMRaD structure consists of introduction, methods or methodology, and result and discussion. The introduction in an IMRaD usually depicts the background of the topic and the central focus of the study. It starts with the context of a problem you are addressing, followed by the position or the thesis statement, and ends with the main point or overview of the argument. While the methodology in the IMRaD lets the readers know the data collection methods, research instrument employed, sample, and many more. So what's inside the methodology? So it discusses the design. Design is a detailed description of why researchers choose quantitative or qualitative data. There is also a sampling. It is a technique on how you get the respondents and how many are they. The data. These are the types, source, and measurement scales taken from the data collection. While collection, it is a detailed process and method of gathering data. And the last is the presentation. This is how data are presented or analyzed and interpreted. The next is the result and discussion. The result and discussion states the brief summary or the key findings or the result of your study. Meaning after you collected the data, you try to interpret the data and write a report about the data. So here is an example of a result and discussion. Okay, that is all for today. So, if you have questions regarding our lessons or the activities in your module, do not hesitate to contact me through my cell phone or in our group messenger so I can give you further instruction. That's it for now. Thank you all for listening. See you on our next lesson.